Hey guys, here, aka Gino. Welcome to my third updated garage tour video, this time with 30 cars to showcase instead of the previous two with 10 and 20. Of course, last time I made this video, update you guys, was with 20 car garage when I was ranked 500. But now I'm ranked 666 with roughly about the same money as well since the last updated video for garage tour. About 34 million right now. And if you guys are wondering how I've managed to get to this level and keep this money sustained throughout the entire time over 30 million, it's pretty much straight up through racing. Also, I made the money back through heist DLC spending from completing the Criminal Mastermind challenge with Danny, Bruffy, and Faturo. So that was done a while back, actually, a couple of weeks back anyway. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with the money that I'm able to sustain throughout, because I don't really spend much on free roam or whatnot. I just sort of spend a few dollars on buying cars and then testing them out and then selling them again if I don't need them. But yeah, I'm still not satisfied with my 30 car selections from a 30 car garage, because of course there's a lot more options now with the vehicles that you can buy. So I'm trying to wait for the hopefully next DLC bringing the 4th garage with 10 car spaces. I'm not sure if they'll do that though, but I'm pretty confident they will, knowing Rockstar and their random updates. So let's get started. First of all, I'm quite ill, but that should not affect this video. Hopefully I sound the same, if not whatever. But anyway, first car, the Turismo. This is of course my favorite car in the game at the moment. I was using the Zentorno for a while back then from PS3, but since near sort of the end of the PS3 era, that fucking stutter, fuck you. So the Turismo is actually one of those cars, man, where at first I wasn't too sure about it, but when you fully understand it, absolutely brilliant to drive. It's one of the best racing cars in the game. Probably gives you the closest feeling to the F1 car on GTA 5 because of its freedom in the turning circle, along with its traction. At the same time, you can easily lose control, but it can be extremely rewarding if you understand the car. So yeah, metallic black, carbon black, I believe, with ultra blue pearlescent. It would be fully matte black, obviously black mamba, the color that I personally have for my primary choice. But because of the F1 Championship, I'm teaming up with Picano. The colors are mixed up with the blue and black to give you that effect. So moving on straight to its brother, Grossi Cheetah. This is another car that I've always had in my garage. I never really sold it. I just pay my tributes to this car because of the previous GTAs having the Cheetah. Absolutely love that car, GTA 3. And it's always been one of my favorites back then. Now in this game, performance wise, not that great as opposed to those games back then, but still, it's still a great car to drive with its traction, sticks to the ground. But like I said, the performance is not there, but it's still going to be in my garage forever, man. Got a nice little purple spinner car, I think, going on with hot pink there. But moving on straight to the Infernus, of course, the brother of the Zentorno. This car is going to be there, man, of course, from the tributes for the previous GTAs. At the same time, it's just one of those cars, if you actually try for racing, it works really well. Not necessarily for side-by-side battles because of its heavy understeer, but also at the same time it can oversteer as well for pushing it. But it's just, its acceleration is absolutely insane. It just shoots out. The car sounds brilliant, as if the washing machine actually works for once. And it's just one of those things, man, with this, was it candy red with hot pink? Looks absolutely fantastic. And it's just a nice car to drive if you can get the cornering right. Of course, all to do with the braking points, but if you can generate the power through that, it feels great, man. But if you get it wrong, oh, the recovery on this car can be a bit off. But gotta have that car, man. But the brother, Zentorno here, still love this car. I haven't really used it much. I still use it for hot lapping, of course. Recently, I've been starting to get into hot lapping for Rockstar tracks, trying to go for some records on the PS4. Of course, the car feels slightly different on this game, but there's certain ways to drive it on the PS4 as opposed to the PS3. But I absolutely love it, man. And the color combination here is a bit weird. If I actually go back to my notepad here, because I've jotted it down, I think it's carbon red metallic with race yellow secondary, and it gives you this nice little effect of diarrhea, pretty much how my diarrhea looks like after taking a shit. So yeah, I absolutely love this. It reminds me of that, and every time I flush my toilet, I don't have to cringe while looking at my shit. So moving on straight to the entity, we got nice little bright orange pearlescent with surf blue, but you have to always give respect to this car. This was one of the first cars that we all used when racing back then was done with stock cars, when all of us couldn't afford any cars. Everyone chose this even before the Zentorno came out. This was the car to drive. Remember those races with catch up slipstream? Oh boy, this was the car to have on those dipping in tracks. Absolutely love the color combo here, and you gotta respect this entity, man. You still gotta love it. You gotta love that car. Traction god, man, I tell you that. But Voltic, the race steward car, still like this car ever since the Formula E Championship that I took part in and managed to win that with this car. Absolutely awesome. It feels great. It's absolutely silent during racing. If every single person uses this car, if let's say you get about 30 people using the Voltic, man, I'm telling you, it feels great. It's so calming, relaxing. You know, actually pay attention to the race and the cars around you without too much going down the ears, like the Massacre race car, the Jester race cars, stupid loud engines that just completely ruin the racing experience with those cars. But this is completely opposite. Absolutely silent. Obviously, it's electric, so that's what's expected from it. But Voltic has to be in the garage. It's just a beautiful looking car, man. Absolutely love it. Handles great. Shoots out corners. Of course, top speed is not there. But then again, it doesn't really matter if you have the same car going at it. Definitely give it a go, man. So, Ada. Gotta love this car. One of the best cars in the game. You know what I mean? No, I'm just kidding. But this is a car that I used to just take the piss. Of course, ramp races, troll races, whatever you want to call it. You're going to have this with nice dollar rims with the pink and the white going there. It's just straight up, you know, you got to have the Ada there just to take the piss. Of course, I'm not a huge fan of the car when it comes to racing, but it'll be interesting. I'm quite curious to see how this car would do with everybody using the Ada in a racing format and doing a little mini playlist with it. I've never really seen that happen in a while. You know, a lot of people were using this in the commute back in the day, of course, myself as well. But my opinions have changed about this car ever since I've been trying out other cars, as you can see there ahead of you. So, that's the Ada out of the way. We've got the Felter. Of course, Felter is still my favourite sports car. Although I've been using the OB9F for a while. Of course, the Sports GT series I've been taking part on Saturdays. All these little series and championships you can see on my Twitch. Information on that in the link in the description below if you want to see these races happening live. So, anyway, Felter, I've gone with a nice little, I think, graphite metallic with diamond blue pearlescent. And it gives you this nice, awesome colour that I really like. Felter is a great car for racing. Always has been. And it's one of those cars, you know, complete opposite to the Turismo, but it still has its own car control involved, which, you know, you can easily slip out. It takes time to recover. But at the same time, if you get this car working, get the revs high, it feels absolutely great. Moving on to the, well, basically twin tier. One's armored version, of course, and the other one is just a normal version. The reason why I've got both of them, well, first of all, this one I was using for heists, but I still like this car. It's absolutely powerful. You can just barge people out the way. Of course, the armored Kuruma coming in with nice graphite metallic with hot pink pearlescent. Absolutely love this car. But at the same time, you know, you can still do well, and I really enjoyed the pretty much the sheer lightness from the normal version of the Kuruma for rallying. So both of them I would advise using for rallying. Of course, when I came to the lap time testing, it was pretty close between the two. But of course, my preference always is for freedom when it comes to the weights and being able to maneuver the car. The normal Kuruma here has to be my #1 choice. But when it comes to having a little bit of fun and a little bit of challenge with understeer, you always go for the Kuruma, the racing point of view, rallying point of view as well. So this is my first garage out of the 3. So mostly filled with supercars, a little bit of sports near the end, and we want to move on straight towards the next 2. So I'll see you guys there with a quick little transition. Right guys, moving swiftly on to the second garage for the 30 car tour. This is filled with quite a bit of sports and off-road from the Heist DLC. Just a little FYI, through my journey from the first garage to this garage, my hiccups came back again in real life. So yeah, my stomach and my throat has been playing up with the esophagus because I've drank a lot of soup and a lot of water trying to cure my cough and my blocked nose. But that sort of took a reverse effect with the hiccups. That's been happening throughout the entire day, which is pissing me off. I've tried everything, but if you guys find that annoying, my apologies. I can't really control that. But let's get right into it with the Elegy, of course. I made a lot of videos about this in the past, and I made a lot of hate videos about this being one of the most OP cars in the sports class. That's not because I actually hate the cars, because I wanted the other sports cars to have a chance. Now, obviously, recently, a lot of people haven't been using this car because it's, I guess people think it's looked down upon. And after a while, using this for a long time can get a bit boring because it's got the same exact driving style every single time. There's not much to it apart from braking and accelerating with its short gear ratios. But it's still an awesome car. It's actually my dream car in real life, the Nissan GZR. I absolutely love the launch speed of this, and it does make sense because it has been, as we obviously know, the launch trigger of this car in real life at the same time in the game as well is insane. If you double clutch. But here's the thing though, with this car, the color combination is slightly experimented with it. Bluish silver metallic with bleach brown pearlescent with grey secondary the wheels. I really liked it. I spent quite a bit of time on it, and of course I'm not going to let this car go, man. It's a free car, of course, but I love it. Anyway, moving on to the other end of the sports class. It's obviously much slower. The Schwarzer. It's an absolutely fantastic car when it comes to a challenge for racing. It's Torino red metallic with ice white pearlescent, and this is sort of the exact same color from the previous garage tour. It's been my main primary color. Of course, recently changing it to the black mamba, but I've wanted to keep it for this car because it really does suit it. And yeah, it's an extreme challenge because it feels extremely heavy. It does want to oversteer at times, but you got to pay extreme attention to it as well, especially during endurance races. It's extremely easy to make a mistake. And the challenge is, of course, racing with other shorts at the same time. It's where the fun part comes into play. Of course, racing the same car is always awesome for equal playing field for the competition. So, moving on to another slow vehicle, but the quickest within its SUV class, the Huntley S. This is absolutely fantastic for racing with side-by-side battles. You get a lot of time to think, so your racecraft can really take play with this vehicle. Of course, the color combination, just a little bit of ultra blue there, and a little bit of pearlescent showing the blueness as well from the black. I absolutely love this vehicle. Great for racing. I'm sure you guys seen it for the Rockstar stream, one of the races from the playlist for LSGP, where everyone was using this from each crew, and it was absolutely fantastic. So here we go with the Carbonese or Carbonati. How you guys want to pronounce this? There's so many different ways to pronounce it, as we recently found out. So this is Galaxy Blue Metallic with Midnight Blue pearlescent. Gives it a nice little shine, nice awesome blue effect with red secondary for the rims. And this was inspired by Taz, one of the commissioners from Apex Stalkers. Absolutely loved this color combo when I saw it. The Sports GT, and it really suits this car. So that's that. Gotta have that car. If you understand the car, it's actually pretty quick. But of course, performance is still not there. But it's absolutely fun to drive. So moving on to the Blister Compact. A lot of people are confused. Why do you have this car in your garage? And it's quite a weird color combination I've gone up with, but I quite like it though at the same time. So what is this? This is a cream metallic with bleach brown for primary, so bleach brown pearlescent, and desert tan for secondary in the bottom part of the bumpers. And then you got basically light brown tint, and the spoiler is color coded as well with Dash VIB sports rims. And I think it suits this because of the fact that it's for rallying, and it does really well for rallying, like the Kuruma and the armored version, and the Fuso of course. But obviously in its own league, it's quite slow. But if everyone's using the Blister Compact, it gets extremely fun. And honestly, I'd definitely advise this. Get your friends together, get into the Blister Compact, and go for it. It's absolutely amazing. But moving on to the Comet. Went with a nice ice white finish. Nothing too complicated, with pure black rims. Really suits this car. Looks absolutely fantastic. Of course, Comet from the previous GTAs. You gotta love it, man. You know, it looks freaking sick. It drives well as well. Quite a challenging car, of course. Easy to make mistakes because it just oversteers. But if you can control it, it's quite rewarding, just like any other car. Moving on to the Futo, of course. Came up with my own little build here. Didn't want to go with the just splashing all the options. But I thought this suited really well with the grey. I'm not a huge fan of the rims, though. I should have probably changed that. But regardless, trying this out for rallying also is absolutely fun when everyone's using the Futo. Also rain racing as well with the Futo. It just works really well on the roads and tarmac because you literally get no traction, but it's extremely challenging and so fun at the same time. But the Sultan, with a nice little pink and carbon black metallic for primary. This of course is another fun car to drive on tarmac. Not really a huge fan for rallying with this, as opposed obviously now it's rivalry with the Kurumas, but still it's a really fun car to drive on for a nice challenge against the other sports cars, because you can carry a lot of speed around corners, provided it's turning circle and letting go of the gas and just turns immediately. Although it's got a little bit of understeer, but absolutely awesome when it just throwing around a corner, it's carrying its speed that it generates through top speed without having to brake as much as other cars. But here's the Guardian and the Insurgent. So Guardian just gone with a nice little surf blue with an ice white pearlescent and a cream secondary there. It suits it really well, makes it nice and stand out. Awesome for racing. There's a specific Guardian playlist out there, and you got to try that out with Guardians only. Absolutely fantastic. Gotta love that car for off-roading. At the same time, the Insurgent. This is beautiful. A little bit of forest green for secondary, and I believe just normal green. Sorry, olive green for primary with cream pearlescent, and of course forest green matte for secondary. I think suits, gives it a nice little army feel to it, military feel, and you gotta love that car. This is a vehicle as well. So that's about it for my second garage tour. You got all these vehicles here. This is a little bit of random with the organization, but it's just that all the vehicles I have right now is pretty random. Right, so this is my third garage, my last showcase of the 10 cars out of the 30. I've already showcased the 20. Be sure to let me know in the comments below how much you think I've roughly spent in total with all the customization of the cars itself from this garage tour. I'm quite curious myself. Also, obviously, let me know what you guys have in your garage in the comment section. Of course, once again, my apologies for the hiccups. I can't really control it. But let's get right into it with the Monroe. This was a weird color combo, but I kind of liked it. At the same time, I hate it as well. It's one of those. It's like it's got a blue metallic with a yellow pearlescent, but it gives it that red feel, of course, when you mix them two together. You can see that. Maybe I'm just blind, but the blue rims, I wasn't sure about that, but it's got blue and alloys mixed together with that particular rim anyway, that selection. Moving on to the muscle, we've got the Dominator here. This is actually a pretty different experimented color combo as well. A little bit of brown mixed with a bit of yellow. Not too sure exactly what it is. But of course, this car is great for racing and muscle, but it gets a bit too repetitive because there's so much variety in muscle car that we're losing out on because of how dominant this is. But at the same time, you know, there are other muscle cars like the Sabre Turbo. It can actually quite compete because it's a complete different driving style to the Dominator. You can carry speed like the Sultan around corners because of its turning circle, and it handles really well. It's extremely responsive. Sort of like the heavier version of the Turismo, but it's absolutely fun, but it's quite weak. If you were to hit the rear of the Dominator with a Sabre Turbo, you're screwed. It'll literally bounce back and spin off. But I do love this wine red color combo with a mixture of actually, I'm not even sure, wine red with midnight blue. I'm not sure though. So it's a weird color, but it stands out though because of the secondary white. But hey, moving on to another sports classic. This is the Stinger GT. You gotta have this car, man. It sounds absolutely beautiful. If anyone tints their window like I did, like an idiot, at the first garage sort of showcase of my 10 cars, then you're missing out on the pure beauty aspect of it. As you can see, the engine is absolutely beautiful. Sounds fantastic. Feels great. It's just not on par with performance, but you still gotta have this car, man. It's quite expensive, but just for the looks and the general feel of the car, if you're driving about with it, it's just great. Just free roaming, go for it. Next to it, of course, we have the Quick Classic. I've gone with a nice graphite and cream combo here, and this is an extremely challenging car, but rewarding at the same time. If everyone uses this in a race, it can be extremely interesting, especially endurance racing with this. A lot of people don't like the car because there's so much you got to pay attention to, but that's the beauty of it. I quite like a challenge in this game. And if you can perfect this car, then you can pretty much drive any other car in the game. That's just the way I see it. So moving on to another muscle, my third muscle, we have the Implanted Phoenix. You got to have this car. Quite like the color combination here. There's quite a bit I put into this, but once again, I'm not too sure exactly what I did to this. It's a little bit of red mixed with orange secondary. I think blaze red. I'm pretty sure it's blaze red with a little bit of a pearlescent there. Going with the massive spoiler this time. I did have the other spoiler option, but I've settled down with this because this really suits the general feel of the car. Driving around, you can drive around with this, obviously drift around with it. It just feels absolutely great. Moving on to the Casco. This is another sports classic. We've got all the sports classics on the left-hand side or right-hand side from this point of view. A bit of muscle and sports there. You see the OB coming up next. But the Casco, recent edition, of course. Gotta love this car. It's quite a bit, not a challenge, but it's quite unpredictable at certain points because it bobbles about and it's quite rigid. At the same time, it just shoots out corners, and obviously we've seen comparison with the Z-Type, and this can compete, and it's absolutely awesome. You know, shoots out, acceleration, insane. It takes about 30 seconds for the Z-Type to catch up on a straight as well. So it's a really awesome car. Gotta try it out. It understeers and oversteers at the same time. But if you can get the control right with balance, it's freaking amazing. And I think matte black suits this because of its red front grille. And matte black and red always goes together. But I just stuck with the matte black for the OB9F as well. This is a great car, another great challenge. Similar feel to the Comet, but this one sticks more. And one of those cars where you have to be extremely patient with it. Around the corner, you got to let it roll in to generate the power through acceleration. But I love it. OB9F is currently what I'm using for the Sports GT series. Extremely quick if you're patient with it. And it's not one of those cars you can just throw around a corner like the Sultan or the Sabre Turbo. It's complete opposite. You have to brake hard, let it roll in, and just floor it, and it does the work. You've got to control it though, because you can easily lose its rear and oversteer like mad. So, Albany Roosevelt Of course, I've changed the color quite a bit from it being Turismo red and ice white pearlescent before to it being black and white now. It's straight up going with the dollar rims. But I've always had this car. I've always loved it. And of course, it's one of those, if you get rid of, you can't get it again. And I just love the rarity of it and the looks of it. Sports classic. The whole entire row there looks absolutely sick. I've shown a little bit of love to the sports classics from playing this game for a while now. And you got to admire the fact how beautiful these cars are within this car class. So, unfortunately, I don't have the JB700, which I would like to have. But instead of that, I've got the Panther here for compact racing. Gotta have this. It's not actually modded, it's sort of glitched out when I was customizing the rear options for the, I think, bumpers. When I was switching back and forth to decide which one I wanted to get, the entire back just open, so I just left as is. And the green combo with the yellow or orange, I think, pearlescent there, pretty much just suits this car in general. So that's the only car on green that I have. But here is pretty much my 30 car garage showcase done. Hopefully you guys can now see my sort of cars. And let me know how much I've spent in total. Quite curious. Haven't really calculated it, but I'm quite pleased I've managed to keep over 30 mil throughout the time of purchasing, selling and testing cars for GTA 5. So yeah, be sure to let me know in the comments below what your 30 car garage looks like, how much money you guys have in GTA 5 and what level you guys are as well. Of course, everyone's got their own reasons to play this game. Some people like to free roam, some people like to do TDM only, some people like to play tennis only, and I myself like to do racing most of the time. So yeah, once again, I've done over 8,000 races to get to the stage that I am today from this video, the showcases and this money and this level. So yeah, let me know how you guys are getting to your stage from your levels of money. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Show you a sign now. Good night, peace. Yeah. Oh, if you guys missed out my previous garage tour with 20 cars, be sure to check out a link on the screen. It takes you straight to the video with a 20 car garage showcase with all of the cars with the same color with Turismo red, ice white, pearlescent. But a lot has changed since then. Obviously, my rank, my money, and the cars itself. So yeah, check it out if you haven't seen it already.